Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and we are on a New Truth Tuesday today. We're busting out the truth. Going to be talking about some hot topics, so we'll be using some secret code words that all of our wonderful people in the chat usually know what we're talking about. We have a couple new ones for you today, so you guys will follow along with us, and we'll bring Amy on. Do us a favor and like this video, share it. Let's get some more truth out there and do our best to help save our country. Be right back on New Truth Tuesday. Hey there, everybody. We're back. Amy, thanks for joining us on a New Truth Tuesday. I know we have a lot to get through today, so I'll let you kind of lead it off. Where do you want to start with this crazy day?
Oh my God, you guys, there, I have so much stuff to talk about. Lisa and I decided we're gonna have to cull out some of the information. So much stuff is going on. So we're going to have to do a little code language for something that Lisa's going to put in the link. She'll tell you about it. But we're going to use the word trick or treat, means for when people come to your door to find out where you stand. I wanted to do the whole show on that, or partially the whole show on that. Couldn't, because there's so much going on with the voter stuff. And then we also weren't sure how we were going to couch it so we don't get kicked off. So Lisa's going to leave a link about what your rights are, how to be safe during this very, very dangerous situation of allowing strangers coming to your door, asking about your history, trick-or-treating. So there's that. I also want to, I saw, Lisa, that you made Tom a moderator. Thank you, Tom.
I did. Yes. I made Tom a moderator so he can help us out. We want to welcome everybody, and we want good, constructive conversation in the community and in the chat. But, we don't need any of that negative stuff. So we welcome everybody in the chat. If you have questions, that's even, you don't have to agree. We don't have to agree. We can definitely have differing opinions. We want to have an open conversation, but we don't need people being nasty. So I did put a link in there about some safety measures that you can take when there's trick-or-treaters. And so that's something it just gives you... if you guys will check that out, I'll also put it in the description. If you're not watching this live, you can check that link out. It's from a former U.S. Attorney General. So he has the proper information. It's a very brief video, less than three minutes, and gives you all that you need to know to keep yourself safe, because we want everybody to be safe.
Yeah. And the other thing too, Lisa, bear in mind the barrage of the narrative is now being amped up again. You are going to be receiving texts, and I think you sent me, Greg also sent me.
Not only receiving texts. Okay, I read back through that. Not only are you receiving texts, they are going to be monitoring our private texts.
Okay.
And stopping any communication they deem unsafe or spreading disinformation or misinformation, which is really concerning, because somebody came up with a meme that said, like, Johnny is texting grandma and says, "I love you. I hope you're doing great and can make it for dinner Sunday." And she says, "I don't know. I'm not feeling too good because I recently went trick-or-treating," or whatever we're going to call it. And because she said the word, then he didn't get the response. And then, grandma's laying in the floor by herself for a few days before they realize something's wrong. So we already know that they watch and listen to everything. You talk about a product and it shows up, a commercial
Yeah.
for it shows up on your phone,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're not stupid. We all know they're listening, but we're all like, oh, okay with it. We're not doing anything wrong. So what's a little privacy? But now it's like they're literally going to be scanning our text, our private text to and from our friends, family, loved ones,
Mhm.
and removing our personal views and information, or
Right.
even just having an open discussion, just our thoughts and opinions about something now is going to be just deleted, removed.
Right. Right.
It's
Exactly.
not just Facebook. This is text messages. They are partnering with
Carrier.
your carriers, with the different phone
Yeah. Phone.
carriers. Yeah,
Right.
this is not just social media, guys.
Okay. So
So,
understand, Lisa, you're absolutely right. And part of the show here is disseminate information to get to people to make the right choices for them and their family.
mhm,
Here's the deal. Under Mussolini, fascism, by definition, which was introduced by Mussolini, is when you have a merger of large corporations that collude with global and not the local governments, the national
mhm.
governments to control the masses. Okay, that's what fascism is about. Socialism's a little different, but fascism is when you take not corporate America, large corporations, and back then it was in Italy and Europe, and you allow them to combine with the national government. What we have now in America is several hybrids of fascism because you have the alphabet companies, you now have Verizon, you have the big carriers. These are all Fortune 50 companies, you guys.
Mhm.
They are now in bed with our national government to literally spy on us. That's not tinfoil hat conspiracy.
No,
That's
I
what
heard a
they
joke today that said, "What's the difference between a right-wing conspiracy theorist and the truth?" And they said, "A few months."
exactly. Yeah.
Um, there's also a video of it, speaking of what you're talking about, what's happening in Cuba right now, and you're even seeing the Cuban police joining the people in the rioting. And there was a video of Ron DeSantis talking about, this is not about the jab or shortages. They're wanting an end to communist dictatorship.
Mhm.
And until we talk about that, then that's really going to be the change. But there was an individual, and he's speaking, um, I guess Spanish, but they have I was going to try to find it really quick, but I tweet too much, so I won't find it. But anyway, but he was saying, this isn't about whether they're telling you that we're mad about shortages of this, and it's not about that. He said
Right.
they're building these big hotels and they're doing all these things, and we're starving and we don't have homes.
Right.
And so it's what you're talking about there. And
Right. Well, Lisa, long story short, if anybody's known anybody who grew up in a socialist country, a very dear friend of mine back in Los Angeles was born and raised in Cuba. She was able to get out of the country. She left her family. She left her first husband. She left everything and came to America in 1978. Very close friend of mine. We spoke hours about what her life was like. She told me, she said, Amy, when I grew up, every night when I went to bed, I thought hunger was normal. She said,
mm,
we were always hungry because there was never enough food because we didn't get the ration. In other words, the government rations the food. And so for her, voting Republican or voting for freedom or she was probably the most patriotic American that I've met in my life. And she said, once you taste socialism and fascism, she said, you will never be a liberal person, ever.
well, that's what we're seeing in Cuba is they're running around waving American flags.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
tell me that's a racist uh,
Correct.
thing
Cor-
to do.
correct.
Tell me that represents racism. Absolutely not.
And here's the hopium, you guys, and then we'll get into the content because the content's so important. But I was thinking, Lisa, today about how you and I got started. everyone in your audience knows we met as angel moms. We started doing some grief work. Then we found out that we shared a lot of political views. And this was before when you could talk on YouTube openly. And then we started doing some rants on YouTube, and then it evolved into the New Truth Tuesdays, and it became very political. So people know that me as the grief goddess and my work for grief, but people might say, well, what is with Amy and this political thing? Like, where does she get off on this? And very briefly, what I want your viewers to know is I grew up in a very, very political household. When I was younger, we weren't really allowed to talk. We had to listen. So I've watched politics my whole life. And in fact, my mom worked on the election campaign for Dwight Eisenhower, and she was his Girl Friday. And I thought this was kind of a cute story because back in those days, the Girl Fridays were sort of hybrid secretaries. And so she would go in on Friday, and he asked her one day, he said, I want to, get some marketing going for my presidential election campaign. And he said, can you help me? Because you're taking marketing classes at Delphi University on Long Island, where my mom was. And she said, sure, I'll help you. And she turns around and she says, well, let's just make it easy. And he said, well, what do you mean? And she goes, I like Ike. Just use that. Well, he ended up using that for his marketing campaign to be elected as president. And my whole life, I grew up listening and hearing. My parents had political meetings at their house with very famous politicians. I won't name names now. That's the most name dropping I'll do in this show. But people that you all know sat in my parents' living room, and I listened to these discussions. The point I want to tell you guys is back in the day, my parents got Republicans and Democrats together at a lot of these meetings. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And there was debate. There was exchange of ideas, and then there was cocktails and fun, okay? The sentiment was very different back then. It was a divide, but they worked together, and they agreed to disagree. What I want to say today, and this is going to come out in the content, in my life, I've been following politics since I was a young child. I have never seen the sentiment in America this serious. And I mean serious. If we think what is going on in Cuba is alarming, I'm here to tell you what's going on in America right now is pivotal because the Americans are armed. The Cubans aren't armed.
Well, and at least in Cuba, it's out in the open. And
Right.
obvious, and being talked about in America. I mean, right now we're seeing this. The Republican Party is, as much as we talk about the Democratic Party, at least they're kind of, obviously stating that they're for communism and socialism. The Republicans are just, we're watching what this Mick Swain, which I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but Mick Swain letter that he's saying that Bill Barr told him not to look into anything that had to do with, an alternative narrative. I don't know if it was Marjorie Taylor Greene or if it was, no, I think it was, I can't think of what her name is. Jenna Ellis, I think, just made a big statement today about stepping away from the Republican Party and really looking at, how many rhinos are in there and that we all need to be really careful about where our funding goes and who we're, let's not do this again. Let's not reelect these rhinos that didn't stand up for truth and honesty at the last time we all, made our choice.
And that's a really good point, Lisa. And I wanted people to know it's not that I'm this dyed-in-the-wool Republican who will not look at any other side of the coin. I'm very aware, as are you, Lisa, the amount of bad players in the Republican Party. Right. So what I want to do for this show and moving forward, I use the term patriot for people that want truth and honesty, whether it's our financial system, our political system, our medical system is racked with medical data fraud. So I'm going to refer to as people or maybe the good guys, the good guys, because you're absolutely right. both sides have got bad players. And right now, what's going on in America is there's a seeking out of truth. I have never in my life seen people so concerned about finding out the truth. And that's why I love what we're doing about this show with talking about the election, because we're seeing it play out in real
Mhm.
life, real time. We're going to get to the content, we're going to show it all there. And it allows you to make the decision where you can put on discerning glasses. You pick up your discerning glasses, take off your bias glasses, and look at this information with some discernment, because the way it's being couched to you is extremely Machiavellian. It's extremely deceptive. And if you're not understanding what's going on, you're going to get caught up in something that's going to be extremely dangerous. Because what I'm here and what I'm just feeling, the good guys, the patriots, we have played fair in the sandbox for a long time. January 6th at the Capitol was an example. We got blamed by Nancy Pelosi for that. It had nothing to do with us. It had to do with them. And if you didn't know that story, then you would think that the good guys were the bad guys, when it's the exact
Mhm.
opposite. You guys, we got to wake up. I know you're awake. If you're watching the show, you're awake. But if
Right.
you can share it with someone who is kind of starting to ask questions like, why is this happening? What's going on? Flip them this, share it while it's still out there. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on here. I just don't know.
We'll see. We're also streaming live on Pilled and on the Foxhole app,
Good,
and
good.
also on Library and Odyssey. So there, if God forbid something happens, you guys know where to go to find us. We won't stop talking about
Yeah,
this stuff. We won't give up on our
right,
country, and we won't give up on our community. So
right.
we will
And
still
Lisa,
be
you
active.
still have your Patreon?
Yes, I still have my Patreon. I'm trying to grow it. We are actually going to be making an announcement this Friday on Happy Hour about an upcoming opportunity for growth and some exciting stuff. So
Okay,
Westwood and I
okay,
are working on something.
okay, okay,
We've
good.
got some irons in the fire. We're trying to spread some more good stuff.
Right. Because this is the moment of truth right now, you guys. The next year in America, we're going to separate the men from the boys. And I don't think it's going to be as peaceful as what's going on in Cuba. Trust me, that's going to look like romper room compared to what I think could. I'm not saying it will. I'm not spreading FUD. I'm just saying I have watched people in politics my whole life, and I've never seen the sentiment. And the patriots, the good guys, have played fair in the sandbox. And right now, they're about to blow. They're
I
about
just
to
think
blow.
as for as bad as it has to get, I hope it goes quickly, so
Yes.
that I hope that no one's harmed. Um,
Yes.
and I know that we know that the financial system is what is holding all this together. The
Right.
financial system is what pays all these dirty hands off. The financial system is what
Right.
the elites are holding together the medical industrial complex with, and the deep, black op stuff through the military industrial complex and big
Correct.
pharma and all that stuff. So we know the dollar is dying. My prayer is for it to die quick, a quick death in the night, and let's get past this thing and rebuild our new future, because I think it's going to have to be very severe and
Mhm.
to be over with. So
I do too, Lisa. And a year ago, I was hoping for a mild transition.
yeah, I don't see any
It's
way
not
of
going
that
to happen.
happening. I
No.
don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that can happen.
And I want to say one last thing. I want everyone to understand in no way, shape, or form am I promoting any type of violence. I want
No.
to say that for the record. I am the
Yeah.
most anti-violent person you could imagine because of my grief work. I've been close up. Death has impacted my life, and I understand what that looks like more than anybody. But the point is with what I see, I'm just saying what I'm observing from the sentiment of
Hmm.
Americans right now is we're reaching a boiling point, and you can only mess with people that are seeing clearly for so long before they stand up and put their foot down. I think we're reaching that point. I don't know how it's going to go. I agree with Lisa. I thought we could do it slowly. This is going to have to be some kind of, I don't know what.
I
And
think
we
the
will,
people have to choose something else, and I think that's where, like, watching El Salvador choose Bitcoin and step away
Mhm.
from that other system of control,
Correct. Correct.
and darkness, and there is that option, so I'm really grateful for that. So, I don't know, it's gonna be a ride, and I think I'm grateful that we have this Constitution, and I think that's a lot of what we're seeing with, the audit and all this information that you've found and what we're going through, and
Mhm.
teaching people how good and right our Constitution is and that we can
Right.
follow it and have a peaceful, existence by following that Constitution, and that they're, those laws are good
And
and right in place.
that was your birthright as an American. It's your birthright.
And actually as a human, because they're God-given rights. So really it's a global awakening when they talk about the Great Awakening, learning about the Constitution and understanding those are God-given rights. Yes, they're protected by our, military, um, and our politicians and all of the Americans, but it's really our God-given right, and so given to all humans.
Right.
It's our human rights.
Right. Right. Exactly. So, shall we start with our first?
Yes, we shall.
Okay.
Jump into, let's see, where
Okay.
are we first?
So, um,
You guys saw the thumbnail from the beginning. We had some naughty little people trying to run away. Now I'm just thinking, like, if I had a job and just decided to take my job's private plane, because I don't think this is any of their private plane. I believe this is um, a Texas, the state-owned private plane that they decided to go run off to their temper tantrum. Their idea was that there wouldn't be a quorum, and so this was their way to not
okay.
participate, right?
Absolutely, Lisa. So to kind of break this down, I love this picture. So can you click on the picture, Lisa?
I'll try to make it bigger. I'll see
I
if
don't
I
know if you
can.
can. Where the purple circle is, this woman has holding a beer. So note that we've
Yeah,
got
it's a case of Miller Lite.
okay, so we've got these ladies. We've got these ladies on this private airplane. They're clearly having the time of their lives. These are Democrat lawmakers from Texas. These ladies are the very same ladies that vote for mandatory masks, mandatory, all of this business. But yet, when they get on an airplane, they can drink, they can have their no masks. And basically, what happened is they left work. They decided that they were going to go to, I think it was Pennsylvania,
Now
Washington,
this
D.C.
Yeah, they're gonna go to DC. And just to clarify, this is a picture of them in the bus going to the private plane. There was a picture of them in the private plane,
Oh,
and I
okay.
had that, and I tweeted it, and I went to pull it up for the show, and the tweet has been deleted.
Oh, Lisa,
And
if you
my comment
scroll
was that
down,
they
there's a
Oh,
picture of
is
them
it
on
in
the
there?
plane. Yeah, keep scrolling.
Okay, because they
Right there, there
there
it
it
is,
is.
right
Yes,
there.
so there you can see the bulkhead, and they're clearly on a plane here with no masks. So rules for
Yeah,
thee and not for me.
exactly. So
Once
this
again,
is first number one.
hypocrites.
But here's my heartburn, you guys, with this. This is so severe. We're going to listen to Kamala Harris in a minute. According to the vice president, these women are protecting the rights of the American people. Now, if you and I have a job and we decide to up and leave and take a private airplane on taxpayers' money to Washington, D.C. to do something that's not in our job description and just leave, we would get fired. So basically, what happened was there was a very important vote that was supposed to take place in Texas either today or tomorrow at the state level. These are state employees. If they don't have quorum, they cannot vote on this issue, which happens to be an election reform issue. They timed this to leave because if they're not there, they can't reach quorum and they can't vote.
Right.
That is according to the Texas state constitution. This is state law, which is how our government at the federal level and the constitutional level is set up. Okay. So Governor Greg Abbott of Texas is holding these ladies accountable according to the state constitution, of which, when they took this job, they swore under oath that they were going to do what they were supposed to do, to represent the people. So they're not doing that. So Greg Abbott is saying that when they return to Texas, he's already gotten a court order and a subpoena, they're all going to be arrested.
Well, so what actually has already happened is that he made the statement or whatever, but then the House members had a vote, and they voted. I can't remember what the vote was. It was like 47-5 or something like that.
Oh, it's a huge landslide.
Yeah, for the sergeant of arms to be sent
out there. I know.
To arrest or detain them. And so it's not just Governor Abbott. I mean, I guess he initiated it, the act, but it's actually, and that is actually, that was in their Texas law. And so there's somebody did this little meme and put little jumpsuits on all of them.
Well, I guess
the picture, so I thought that was hilarious.
A hot minute, Lisa, I don't know if it was C-SPAN, but there was an actual footage. They filmed the vote.
Yeah,
to allow this.
Yes, I think I sent that to you in Twitter.
Yeah, might have been. And so you guys, they had this vote. So we're talking Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is doing everything according to the letter of the law. He is doing everything.
Oh gosh, 76-4 was what it went to. Okay, hold on.
So that means 76% of the legislators agreed that he needs to send, what was it, the Texas Sergeant in Arms?
Sergeant of Arms, to detain. The Texas House votes 76-4 to send the Sergeant of Arms to detain or arrest the fleeing members of Congress.
Right. Sorry. Okay, so we got to stop here, you guys, because this is where the PSYOP comes in. The next slide, or the upcoming slides, we've got a little clip of Kamala Harris going on TV today explaining that the governor is against the people, anti-constitutional, and that these ladies are representing the actual voice of the American people. This is the part that's so frightening and that I want you guys to understand. When you build the story, it's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. And you can see when you listen to her, if you aren't filled in on the history of this story, the legality of how Governor Greg Abbott actually is behaving according to the letter of the law, it's very, very frightening to listen to her, because if you just snap on the MSM and listen to her, it twists you into thinking that the governor is a bad man. He's anti, and oh, by the way, he's a Republican, so he's really bad. I mean, he's orange man bad. So is this Lisa? Okay, here we go. Thank you. She's pulled this up. Let's go and listen to this short clip on, I mean, listen, Lisa, I know it's painful for you to watch her. It's very painful for me, very painful. But we've got to report on this. We've got to do the truth. And so, and she's talking about the extraordinary courage of these women. I don't think it takes these ladies look like they don't need courage to me to get on an airplane with a bunch of beer and having a good time. I don't see what courage is? Courage is what our armed forces do every day when they go out into the, Iraq war. That's courage. When they defend our Constitution, that's courage. So let's see what Kamala has to say. Or
start by making a statement about the legislators in Texas who are showing extraordinary courage and commitment. I met with them when many of them traveled to Washington, D.C. We sat down and had an extensive conversation in the Roosevelt Room in the White House. And I applaud them standing for the rights of all Americans and all Texans to express their voice through their vote, unencumbered. I will say that they are leaders who are marching in the path that so many others before did when they fought, and many died for our right to vote.
Wow. Is there another link?
No,
Just that
no.
one. Okay. So she
That
didn't
was
written
that
Abbott
one.
on there yet. Interesting.
This is part, you guys, of the narrative that I want you to start to think about as we get to the dominoes fall. We'll get there in a second. No one knows how these dominoes are going to fall. And if you listen to anybody that says, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen, I'm going to go back. We're all a little right. We're all a little wrong. We're just in this all together trying to figure this way. We're trying to figure it together for our country that we all love so much and our freedoms. So no one really knows. It could be the financial system, Lisa, that cracks up and booms. It could be our electrical grid goes down. It could be a natural disaster. It could be the Maricopa.
Yesterday on the show, there was the FBI was warning crypto exchange people that own cryptos for that crypto exchanges, and I think it was just exchanges. They were talking about hacks and going down. So that was one of the warnings that we had yesterday that
Right.
the FBI put out.
Right. So we're going to see this turned up. One of these is going to fall. One of these is going to fall. And when it happens, I think your best defense, I mean, everyone says, oh, you're going to need brass, don't worry about your cryptos because that's not going to listen. If we have a major grid out or a major civil war in America, your cryptos, that's not when you're going to want your cryptos. You're going to need your metals, your food, your water, your brass. That's what you're going to need. But the point is, if you're educated and you know how we got here, you're not going to panic. You're going to understand what's at play. You're going to understand where you stand. Because if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. That old saying. And hopefully with this information, one of my passions about it, I know it's Lisa's as well, is to get everybody to come up and start thinking in ways that as Americans, we didn't have to think. A year ago, we didn't even have to think this way. 2 years ago, and it's moving faster and faster, you guys. The drama, the psyop, the disinformation, the misinformation, whether it's on a medical level, a financial level, it's all fake. And it's getting you to not think critically. So again, I know I say this a million times, but that's what we're here to show with these examples of the media. And then Lisa and I try to break them down for you guys in a way that you can kind of get your head around it. Then you guys come up with what you think is right for you and your family, because this thing is going to unravel. When and how, nobody knows. Nobody knows. So speaking on unraveling, Lisa, let's go to the next slide over here. Okay. Now, this is what, again, I'm trying to show you guys. This is a really interesting article. You had it, Lisa, the first time. Governor Abbott promises Texas Democrats who fled the state will be arrested upon their return. It's the most un-Texas thing. This here breaks down his legal standing as to why he's doing what he's doing. Because there we go. No.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I jumped off of what.
That's
sorry,
okay. You had it originally.
Yeah,
Lisa.
I have it. I'm just
slide number 3.
looking for the next one. Yeah.
It's in there. You had it originally first pulled up.
Yeah, I've got it. I just started going for the next one.
Perfect. Exactly. You guys, this one here, and I don't know if you want to pin this, Lisa, in the chat. I like this article because what he does is he breaks down the letter of the law, why he's doing what he's doing, how it complies with the state of Texas Constitution, that these women are in violation of their job and the state constitution, of which they are public servants. It is their job to comply with the Constitution, and they are not doing it. And then we have our vice president out there who all these people adore and worship her as the first female role model, on and on and on. It is not reality. It's not true. Basically, what Kamala said in that past video was basically, it's okay to break your constitutional law and get away with it. What kind of truth and honesty is that sending to our young people? What kind of role model is that? I mean, she's supposed to be this big role model. Let's think critically. But here we have Governor Abbott. In here, Lisa pinned this. It goes through the whole thing about why he's doing what he's doing and how he is backed by the law. So don't buy into any kind of rhetoric saying that he's anti-American, anti-constitutional, and he does not represent the American people, because as in Congress, he won in a landslide to get those ladies either detained or arrested. He has the authority to do both, as now voted in Texas at the state level. So he's been backed by the people. Let's be very, very, very clear on what is truth and what are lies. You're talking about the law here. You're talking about a state constitution. You're talking about a very brave man who's swimming upstream right now. And I say, God bless him.
I agree.
Okay. So that's there for you guys. The next one, Lisa, is a screenshot. I can't help myself sometimes.
Okay.
This just kind of shows you, as I'm out there trolling, I'm a people person. I love psychology. I love sentiment. So every once in a while, I'll send Lisa these screenshots. She sends them to me too.
Yes, we have fun.
We have a lot of fun. And, it's all about the American people, you guys. At the end of the day, it's our bat and ball now. We think we're not empowered. We have way more power than we do. Do you know how scared they are of us picking up arms? They're scared to death, and they're panicking. Why do you think Biden went to Pennsylvania? He is scared out of his pants, if he even knows where his pants are. Or if he even knows where Pennsylvania is.
Yeah, or anything else.
So here we have this lady saying, Dems are having a fit because we don't want to make it easier for them to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this says it all right here, you guys. They have underestimated how smart Americans are. And that's the other thing that angers me as an American. I am so insulted. Do you know American people know exactly? Now, there are some people that are asleep. I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
But do you know how many people are waking up now to what's really going on? We're not as stupid as they think we are. And it's an insult. And this girl says it right here. They are having a hissy fit because they can't get away with their cheating. We're starting to call them out. We're demanding accountability. We are demanding accountability. And that's what Governor Abbott did today in Texas. He went to the state legislature and he says, I demand legal accountability to arrest these women.
They were calling him a dictator on one of the things that I saw. And I was like, but he was holding it accountable to the state's constitution. And then he put the vote to the House, and
Right.
the members there, 76-4, upheld the order. And that was the order that sent the sergeant of arms to go detain or arrest them. So they can't say he's not a dictator, doesn't go ask for permission.
Right, Lisa, right, exactly. And this is exactly why I'm so happy that you and I are having this show and having this conversation, because once you start to see the trend, it almost becomes predictable after a while.
Mhm.
Like, you know what their game plan is. It's very predictable. And what happens is once you start to get into the groove of it, I mean, it's sad, but then you're not shocked when someone comes knocking at your door before trick-or-treating Halloween time.
Mm-hmm. At least you're prepared. Yeah, we have a friend in the chat talking about it. I did put a link earlier in the chat, and I will go back afterwards and have a link in the description of some things
Right.
you can do to keep your family safe during trick or
Yeah.
treating.
And there are some legal signs that you can post.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that'll be,
Keep your
we
family
don't even
safe.
want to talk about that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
Lisa and I will figure some code language out for if we want to have a show on that as it comes closer. But that's the next shoe to drop on their end. You know, they first want
Mm-hmm.
us afraid. And oh, by the way, in Nazi Germany, they went door to door looking for the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Yep. And asked for their papers.
Exactly. I'm just saying.
Yep. Okay, so let's see, where are we next with this? Because I have a really cool video that I found with some pictures of duplications.
Okay, let's go. I've got a
We're
real
there
quick,
yet.
a click. The next one is a slide 5. It's just another tweet.
Okay.
And then Lisa, you do your thing. I've got other stuff, but you will flip to your stuff.
Well,
I don't want to,
okay.
you know,
Well, just when it fits in, that's fine.
yeah. This
so
is,
we're Arizona.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
This is really, really accurate. And now we're moving into the Arizona thing on the vote. This is bingo. This is bingo. I live in Arizona. Yes, there are evenly cowardly GOPers who are floating ideas just to try and hide the results because they are terrified of the riots the left will put on if the truth is published. It's bad. It's really bad. Trump won, and so did McSally by a lot. All right, you guys, this is the truth bomb. This is the truth bomb. Right now in Arizona, they've ordered a final recount. And to just kind of tell you what it is, it's not the forensic report. It's not a Biden-Trump. They just want to recount all the ballots, the 2.1 million some odd ballots, for the 4th time. This is the 4th time. Okay? The reason, you guys know this, I don't even have to say it. If you're paying attention, you know where this is going. If B won and it was a slam dunk, that's what the County Board of Supervisors want. It's a no-brainer. They would have put it out a week ago and just say, oops, our bad. Yep, the people of Arizona had a straight up, honest vote. The sitting president was accurately elected in our state, and nothing to see here. Let's move along. They're now doing a 4th recount of the total number of ballots, and they are doing it at they've moved out of the Coliseum, for those of you that want to follow this, to the Wesley Bolin building in Phoenix, which is south of the Coliseum. If you go to Google, you can pull up a picture of it. It's a big civic center area. They've actually just moved, and they are running them through these machines. Don't buy into what's going on. These are not Dominion type machines. They're the same type of machines that when you go to the bank and they, you know, if you cash a lot of fiat, dirty fiat, it goes brrr, that rotary machine that just gives the account. They're putting the physical ballots because they want to make sure the 2.1, they're doing 4 tallies of that because they know this is going to court. They know where this is going. And so what they're doing is they're preparing their defense in advance. And what is the best offense is a good defense. And that's your legal war room strategy. The lawyers behind the scene, the lawyers backing Karen Fan are saying, get your ducks in line, because when this truth bomb is exposed and it's floated out, it's going to roil. This is going to start. This could be the tipping point. Now, Karen Fan has not been quiet. Even on Twitter, she's been quiet. I think she's consulting with her attorneys. I think she's working with Ducey. I think she's working with Orange Man Good, because they
This
know.
was really good. He talks about what Karen Fan, it's going to be the shot heard around the world within a few days. And it talks about Karen Fan bringing with receipts the proof or information. You want me to play this real quick?
Surely, if you want to, because at this point we're getting everything out as fast as we can.
Yeah.
I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Mhm. Let's see. Why is it not playing? Maybe if I go to, it may have been taken down. Why is it not? How to tweet. I'm pretty sure I know how to tweet. Let's see if I can go to it in his stream because it's not letting me play it from within that. Here it is.
Conference out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's doing murder boards with top cyber experts to them. That's the air game. The ground game is in Arizona. It's in Georgia. It's about to be in Pennsylvania. This 3 November movement, as we've said from day one, it's Wuhan and 3 November, because once you get to the bottom of it, everything else becomes clear. You're running for the Senate in the state where the Patriots, the new Concord Bridge is that convention center in Maricopa County. And the shot heard around the world is going to be the shot that Karen Fan takes when she sends a letter with the receipts and the evidence to Maricopa County's Board of Supervisors, I believe, in the next 10 days. What's your position right now? You're running for the Senate in Arizona. It is the most on fire Patriot base in this country. The great folks out in Arizona. I love Arizona. I got tons of family out there. We love the state, love the people, love the desert. What say you about 3 November? Do you have the back of what's going on out there? And do you believe we have to get to the bottom of November 3rd before we can move forward?
I do. I agree with you. I think we have to get to the bottom of it. I think you don't get to have a democratic republic if, tens of millions of people, and if we're honest, more than 100 million people in this country, even some who voted for Joe Biden, look at this election and they just see a messy, chaotic process. There were irregularities, there were delays, changes in procedure. None of it makes sense. And of course, the Democrats and the media activist class want to tell us this was the most perfect election of all time. So it's kind of crazy that I have to do this. But, since I just announced my candidacy yesterday, I've been speaking with a lot of media in Arizona. I'm having to spend a lot of time just justifying just the high level idea of an audit. I come from the business world. We audit businesses every year. I run a nonprofit foundation. It gets audited every year, even when there's no suspicion.
Conference out in Sioux.
Anyways, he's talking about within 10 days, shot heard around the world when Karen Pham sends that proof.
Right.
So, and this, what I was showing earlier was that they had, they were explaining that these are duplicate ballots. They're exactly the same. I mean, you can see even the way the bubbles were filled, but then he talks about the batch number and the batch number, but the image numbers are different. But like you can see, this one has this tail.
This exact same little tail.
But they're two separate ballots.
Right.
And so going back through and they're seeing that these ballots were run through multiple times.
That's just a mistake or just a coincidence. Here's the next one that shows, you can see Republican is written there, Republicans written there. This is ballot 61. This is ballot number 2. And then each one of them even has this little dot in the Fannie Willis.
Okay. And do you have more of those?
We have the entire batch. There's 62 images in here total. I didn't even get a chance to go through all of them, but these are the most obvious ones where it's clear that it's the same. This one's got the little tail on the side.
And so what happened? So do you know the numbers of these total batches? Like,
I don't remember what the totals were on the batches. I don't think they weren't disparate. They were fairly close. But the simple fact that they
So if you
occurred.
see that little bubble right there, this is one image. Here's another image.
Exactly
See,
the same.
exact same. And the batch number, was it 5162?
Also, scanner 5162.
Okay, scanner.
Batch number 235, image number 92, matches the same scanner 5162, batch 234, image 33.
So there you have it. Duplicate ballots. The entire batch is scanned several times.
So that's the kind of stuff they're finding.
I mean, Lisa, that's amazing. And bear in mind, you guys, that the rhetoric from the other side is that Cyber Ninjas is this hack,
Right.
nothing company that is just doing this willy-nilly audit that's very unpatriotic because the patriots were unhinged. Remember, we're unhinged. We are bitter because we lost the race. And we're anti-patriotic because we want an audit. Then they find this information and you see this in front of your eyes and you just can't believe what you're looking at, the detail of Cyber Ninjas. That's why all these other states came to Arizona and they're going to use Cyber Ninjas. They're saying Arizona Maricopa County is the platinum standard for a full and complete forensic audit.
Okay, here's one more thing that's of proof of that we want to bring up before we close out. There's a letter from McSwain that this is a letter to Donald Trump from McSwain. Oh gosh. And he says, "Oh, it's my honor to serve as U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of Pennsylvania. In your administration, you asked me to prioritize public safety. That's exactly what I did." Anyway, blah, 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 blah. I'll skim through it and get to the good stuff. You were right to be upset about the way the Democrats ran the 2020 election in Pennsylvania. It was a partisan disgrace. The governor, the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and the partisan state Supreme Court made up their own rules and did not follow the law. Even worse, the state attorney general, Josh Shapiro, the very person responsible for the enforcement of the election law, declared days before the election day that you could not win the election. It would be hard to imagine a more irresponsible statement by a law enforcement officer, especially during a hotly contested election. In light of such statements, it's handedly surprising that many Pennsylvanians lack faith in our state's elections. Let's see. And then he goes on to say, on election day and afterwards, our office received various allegations of voter F and election irregularities. As my responsibilities as U.S. Attorney, I wanted to be transparent with the public and, of course, investigate any allegations. Attorney General Barr, however, instructed me not to make any public statements or put out any press releases regarding possible election irregularities. I was also given a directive to pass along any serious allegations to the state attorney general for investigation, the same state attorney general who had already declared you could not win. I disagree with that decision, but those were my orders. As a Marine infantry officer, I was trained to follow the chain of command and to the respect of my orders and my superiors, even when I disagree with them. So, blah, blah, blah. And that's the meat of the letter. So, very interesting. More
and you can kind of see, you guys, how every little piece now, it just keeps coming. This is for the light. This is for the truth. It keeps coming and coming. And one, before we leave, Lisa, the last slide, it is slide 7.
Okay.
And I want to show you guys this because this shows, again, people will be held accountable. And what they're finding out, and so Lisa, if you scroll down, keep scrolling right there. See the prison thing right there? Stop right there. Okay. What they're saying is that the audit war room, which is the Arizona that's the good guys. They're calling it the audit war room, has been calling for some serious consequences for those impeding the audit in Arizona. That includes the County Board of Supervisors that still won't turn over the routers. They still have yet to turn that over. On Wednesday morning, the Twitter page compared the Arizona audit to a bank audit, of which the election audit should be taken more seriously. But what they're saying is that in the audit war room, they're pointing out possible crimes committed. Note the word possible crimes committed by Maricopa County obstructing the audit investigation. So that would fall under the subpoena that was served to the County Board of Supervisors and, the Arizona Maricopa County to turn over those routers and passwords. They didn't. So now what's happening?
And that's what Karen had subpoenaed?
Yes, when Karen went originally, she first had to get the legal authority to do the audit. That's at the Arizona level. Remember, each state has different protocols. What works in one state is not going to work in another. So in Arizona, she went through, just like, Governor of Texas did, the proper protocol. She followed the letter of the law. She got the authority from the Supreme Court in the state of Arizona to go ahead with a forensic audit. And then when she asked for the routers from Dominion and the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, they said no. So she went back to court again. And she got a subpoena. The judge said no.
That's what they're talking about when they say she has the receipts.
Yes.
And all that. So it will show all of that in the Times. And
right.
Wow.
So now they're talking about crime. They're talking about being criminal. So that would mean the judge, if she wants to press it, she can go back to court and bring criminal charges against the County Board of Supervisors and whatever other people were involved in obstructing, note the word, obstructing the court-ordered audit. And those people, so what we're seeing is now we're seeing Texas move forward with arrests. We're seeing talk about it in Arizona. You guys, in my life, people can sit back and say, oh, nothing's going to happen. I'm not so sure. I've never seen anything like this, you guys. I've never seen pushing of arrests, enforcing the Constitution. Usually it's all swept under the rug. This is not being swept under the rug, you guys. It's not this time.
That's pretty exciting. I mean, that's where I just feel like it's going to go hard and fast. And I'm kind of praying for that I want everybody to stay safe. I know it has to happen. To right all these wrongs and to, bring us back to that constitutional America that we all want and that we believe in. But I hope for swift judgment.
Exactly.
So,
yes, exactly. And that everyone can stay safe.
Yes.
And we can do this as peacefully as possible.
Absolutely. So we are starting a new thing, you guys. We're building up Patreon. That's going to be the way that Westwood and I are going on the road and hoping to bring along everybody on the show. So what we're planning on doing is trying to do a monthly meetup, and we're doing a giveaway. So Fingsy has donated a Digibyte poker chip, and I think it's zinc. Digibyte zinc chip.
Nice.
So those are kind of cool. So we'll be giving those away, and everybody that is a Patreon member is entered to win that. And so that's our goal, is to help build up Patreon. It's a great way to support the channel. And then that money is going to be used to promote these monthly meetups that we're going to do. We've got tentatively 4 planned. And we'll be announcing those this Friday. And then with some little crypto 101 classes the following day. So going to work on some of that and try to get some sponsorships, and really excited about that. So trying to get some more adoption happening, and hopefully we can bring along Public and Amy and Johnny and Mame and everybody out to meet all of our friends and our community. So,
and Lisa, when Maricopa wins, you're going to have to come here. We'll have a victory party.
That sounds perfect. I would love
Okay.
it. Yes. Well, I'm all for that. I sent you, I heard that Trump's going to be speaking at a rally there. I think it's pretty
Yeah.
soon though.
It's very soon. Right, right, right,
Uh,
right. Thing
I
is, you
sent
can't get
you-
near the Trump rallies. I mean, you can't get within
I'm,
here in this state.
I'm
You
sure.
can't get within miles of a Trump
Yeah.
rally here.
Yeah. I see people like sleeping out in lines for days and in
Oh
the
yeah.
rain,
Oh yeah.
all kinds
Oh
of things.
yeah.
I'm like, I'll watch it on Right Side Broadcasting, but still good stuff. I wouldn't want to miss it. So, Magic Torch says, when is the tour coming to the UK? Magic Torch, if I could get a sponsorship, when I don't have to get nose raped or
Yeah. Yeah.
poked or
Right.
pricked, I
Right.
that would be really good. So, definitely good things. But I think all that's coming. I think that cryptos are going up. You know, I think we're all in for this big change. So it's coming for all of us. The future is bright. We just have to hang in there and hold the line. So everybody, we'll see you guys next time. Be sure to like this video. Oh, let me jump over to pilled.net really quick and release the lotto ticket. If you're watching on pilled.net, be sure to do your scratch off ticket and get your gold pills. Or if you're watching through the foxhole.app, you can get your lotto ticket there and get your gold pills there too. So, all right, you guys take care. Remember to love one another.